Play. Good morning, Coach. Congratulations on a good win Saturday night.
Thanks, guys. How you guys doing?
Doing good. We talked about we played the Marlon Taylor highlight coming in, and man, is he catching on, Coach. I know that he hadn't played a lot of basketball in his life, but it seems like he's starting to catch on here at the college level.
Yeah, he played well against Arkansas. You know, it was a free flowing game. It's one of those games where you just got to have some guys who can make some plays, because you can't tell them exactly where the defense is going to be, exactly where all the rotations are going to be. And Marlon made some aggressive plays. Really proud of him from the free throw line. Stepped up there, had some poise at the free throw line, knocked in some big free throws for us, and certainly did a good job defensively as well, which we've come to count on. So he's coming around and playing well, and we need him to continue to play well as we move through our SEC schedule.
And I think Marlon Taylor is kind of interesting in my next question, Coach, which is it seems like a lot of the times this year, the production comes from varied sources, right? Yeah, I mean, you have your consistent performers like Tremont Waters was excellent once again, but it was Marlon Taylor and Naz Reid this last time out. Before that, it was Cavell Bigby Williams. As a coach, when you have all these kind of alpha male personalities, guys that are used to being the man, what's the key to getting everybody to buy in to that concept of team, that like it doesn't matter whose night it is, we're just going to go win?
Understand that everybody needs the next guy. You can't do it yourself. And I tell them sometimes the matchups favor different guys depending on who we're playing. And I think that's good. You got to have a team that's versatile. You got to have a team that has multiple people who can be your leading scorer, and it makes you tough to guard. We go into the game having an idea of where our best mismatches are and where we need to exploit. But then once you get into the game, you kind of feel who has the hot hand. And, our guys are an unselfish group. Our guys, once they realize who does have the hot hand, they get the ball to them, which is another important piece to it. And so I feel good about where our guys are right now with that.
Are your opening two games of conference, are they great examples of how you've come so far in learning how to close games? Because that Alabama game was in the stretch there at the back end of it. And then, of course, Arkansas comes back, forces overtime. But in both instances, this young team's able to get out of there with W's.
Gauge with W's. I wish we'd have closed the game a little bit better against Arkansas and not let it get to overtime. We had 3 live ball turnovers, late in the game, last 5 minutes of the game, which you can't have, which led to them, getting a layup and getting back in the game a little bit. So we had breakdowns, and we talked about that and watched film and worked on that yesterday, getting that corrected, because it's going to be a tough way to live throughout the rest of conference play if we're turning the ball over at the rate that we're turning the ball over. And so there's certainly we've got to get corrected. I'm happy to be 2-0. I'm pleased to be 2-0, but we can't let our record deceive us with all the work that we have ahead of us.
So, big-time road trip to Bud Walton Arena. A lot was made of the road losing streak. Hadn't won a road game in a calendar year. You got a road trip again tomorrow night, huge one, to Ole Miss. Did you address it with the team? I know you said it's all a new team, so you don't always talk about the past, but when it comes to winning on the road, like how much emphasis did you put on that in those team meetings?
No, that's a little bit overblown. I mean, we didn't play a road game in 8 months of that year.
Yeah, it sounds good. It sounds good, Coach. Hold on.
It's a good soundbite. It's a good media thing. Like they hadn't run a road game in a year. Well, I mean, dang, we didn't play one in 8 of those 12 months. And then we played one in December of this year at Houston. So, I mean,
well, hold up, your facts are getting in the way of my story here. Let's just over you.
I mean, like I know I heard that. I want to say, like, you guys, like anyway. So no, I mean we did. It's like I told. I mean, the reality was last year on the road. I mean, the other team had the better team most of the time, and I did tell our guys that. And I said, look, the reality is we've got the better team on some of these road games that we're going to go on this year. Now we got to go play.
Yeah.
Like that's how you win on the road. You got a good team, and you go in there and you execute, and you overwhelm them with your length, your athleticism, your poise, your connectedness. I mean, you got to go in there and make it happen. And I mean, the reality was last year we were taking a team to Auburn and Tennessee that just probably wasn't going to win, even if we played our best.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if we focus on ourselves and play well on the road this year, we've certainly got opportunities to win. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about.
You might be gearing up and playing the hottest team in the country tomorrow night. Ole Miss goes into Mississippi State and wins at the Hump Saturday night, and then last Tuesday they beat Auburn at home. What do you make of Kermit's squad?
I mean, they're typical Coach Davis team. I feel like every year I've coached, I've played against him. We played a home and home when I was at VCU. I played him when I was at Chattanooga.
Huh.
And so, I mean, it's this typical team. They don't beat themselves. They don't turn the ball over. They run good offense. They run with great pace. They change their defenses and keep you off balance. They play, 3 different defenses, and they play them all well. His zone's a lot better this year. His 2-3 zone's a lot better. His 1-3-1. He's got a couple freshmen that can play at the top of that 1-3-1. He's done a good job with them. So, I mean, he's got his type team. He's probably got the best backcourt in the SEC. They score or assist on 80% of Ole Miss baskets. So, he's got a really, really, really good team, and he's a very, very good coach. And, we're going to have to go in there and take the game from them. They're not going to give it to us. They're not going to beat themselves. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere, probably similar to what we went into at Houston this season. And so we're going to need to be ready. And certainly we're going to have to play a lot better than we played on Saturday against Arkansas. We're not going to be able to give up 80-some-odd points and beat Ole Miss. So we're going to need to be better, especially defensively, and especially with taking care of the ball and valuing the ball, because they're not going to turn the ball over, and we're not going to be able to make up those extra possessions if we cough it up 17, 18 times.
Seems like you're much more comfortable now going into conference here as you're starting to settle in with your rotation. It seems like you've settled on 8, and those guys are comfortable in their roles.
A good 8, and I feel good about those guys, and I feel like they're getting good. We're getting good minutes. We're getting good distribution. I think everybody's pleased with how they're playing and what they're playing, and now we just got to continue to put it together and get multiple guys to play well on the same day. If we could get a lot of guys humming on the same page on the same day, we'd be a very, very dangerous team. And so that's the next step for us, and we're certainly working on that every day.
Thanks for stopping by this morning, man. Have a safe road trip to Oxford, and good luck.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. Boot up.